Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coroner Talk. I am so glad that you jumped in and joined. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. So if you had a good 2022, then I hope you extend into 23. But if you had a sucky year, then I hope you have a great 23. Got kind of an interesting show for you today. With permission, I'm going to play in its entirety a podcast from a new friend of mine, Kevin Hurst, who has a podcast and a website by the same name. It's called Don't F Up the Crime Scene. Now, of course, the F is spelled out completely just as you might think it would be. And so Don't F Up the Crime Scene. It's a really, really interesting podcast, and he has a lot of things that he does and he teaches and things like that. Fairly new podcast, but he's been an instructor for a long time. I believe he lives up in the D.C. area currently, retired out of Georgia somewhere, I believe. And so anyway, he has met him at the Daytona, at a conference at Daytona a couple weeks ago. And while we were there, we were talking about podcasts and stuff, and we stepped out on the balcony by the ocean and recorded a podcast for his show. Now, Kevin will be on my show at a later time. Now, there's some background noise, there's some kids crying, there's some music playing. I mean, we're on a balcony of the hotel by the beach with the waves rolling in, so you have some background noise, but really good conversation. And so what he does is he takes all new guests on his show. He asks them 8 easy questions, which turned out not to be so easy, and we answered those. So he's given me permission to play that. I think it's kind of an interesting show, and it also introduces his show, Don't F Up the Crime Scene. So we'll get into that in just a moment. I want to let you know that some of you have been to the MDI training course, the week-long course we have here in Missouri. We have now moved that course to Springfield, Missouri. We have an airport right there, free shuttle from the hotel to the airport. And we've expanded the course. We've added a lot of new courses. So actually, it's a 40-hour classroom, 20-hour online. That's optional, but it's there for you. And we're going to serve you breakfast and lunch, and we're going to be in the same hotel. It is a training, conference, but it's not really a conference as much as it is a training because, you can't just necessarily come and go because you got to be in the classroom. But lots of stuff to do in the evening times, lots of stuff to do in Springfield, Missouri. It is going to be amazing. And so if you took the course in 22, maybe not. But if you took the course anytime in the 17, 18, 19, or 20, hey, you might want to come back to Missouri. We've expanded it. We've got a lot of new stuff, great instructors, great venue at the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center in Springfield, Missouri. You can find information about all of that at, of course, our academy site, ditacademy.org/MLDI, Mary Lincoln David Ida. And I'll have a link to that in the show notes. And of course, you can go to the Academy page and you can go to classroom training to find that. It's going to be this year, it's going to be April and October. It's normally March and October. Because we moved it to Springfield, we had to go with the hotel dates. So April and October of this year. Now, if we have room for 50, and we've already got 30-some enrolled. So we're going to obviously fill up. And as this comes out the first part of January, we're looking at the course in April. It is going to fill up. So if you have even the inkling that you would like to come to Missouri to this course, you're going to need to jump on board with this because, like I said, we arranged for 50 and we've got 32 seats, I think, filled. So you got to jump on that. So again, we've got some new courses, online courses on our site. We got things like that going on. But I wanted to make sure you knew about the change and the upgrade and the updates to the MDI classroom course. So without any further delay, let's jump into this podcast that I was on with Kevin Hurst. Now, let me say, he says the whole word and he says the whole show name. So understand that there are a time or two throughout this conversation. If you have small children in the car and you don't want them to hear the F word, they're going to hear the F word. So don't play it out loud. I mean, it's not overbearing or something, but he says it as part of the name of the podcast. You might not even catch it. It says it so fast. But I just wanted to do a pre-trigger warning in case you're triggered by that word. All right, let's go.
Adjust your earbuds, turn up those speakers, and hang on. It's now time for this week's featured conversation.
Yes, sir. It is I, your boy from Bed-Stuy, and I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in for Don't F Up the Crime Scene, where me, special guests, will tune in and talk about our experiences on crime scenes and how to mess up the case. All right? So sit back and enjoy and holler back at your boy. Holla. How's everybody going? It is I, your boy from Bed-Stuy, coming one time for Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene. And I got a good guest for y'all today. We actually kind of alumni brothers in a sense. And Missouri, about to say Michigan. Oh God, all right. And we're gonna talk to him today. So again, this is episode 42. We're gonna go out in Daytona, Florida, on the beach, and it has a little music in the back because we're at the Hard Rock Cafe. So I'm gonna read them in real quick.
That's what editor for.
That's what's edited for. You ain't lying. I can get all that out later. All right. Got me. All right. So let's we do a sponsor a little bit later. I'll get that out. All right. We are hailing from the Hard Rock Cafe, and this is Darren Dake. And we're going to go with, he is law enforcement coroner by trade, owner of Death Investigation Academy. I met him yesterday at the conference because we're at the Death Conference, and we actually know the same people, Carl, and we're going to talk a few things, okay? Current position is a coroner. He's been doing this 35 years in the field. So, Darren, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thank you. It's going great. I mean, how can it not be good? We're sitting on the beach in Daytona out here talking on the podcast and watching the waves come in.
You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I don't have is a drink in my hand, but it is like 9:30 in the morning, so we better wait on that.
Yeah, just a wee bit. So we go through the easy aids the first time you come on. The second time we go in, we would talk about some coroner stuff and what you really do and how you get your education going and your academy, because that's going to be really good. We talk about it a little bit today. So what's the best thing you like about your job?
Well, from the coroner side, I think the best thing I like is I guess there's twofold. One is getting the answers for family.
Okay.
We're able to, because of our investigation, we do it right. We're able to let families know why their loved one died, or if someone's responsible for their death, and to hold them accountable.
Right.
And then I guess the other side of it too. This is a little self-serving, but there are. There's not a lot of people that can do the job that we do.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a sense of pride that we can be around death and we can handle death.
Right.
And so, it's enjoyable knowing that we're able to fulfill a need where not everybody is. A lot of your listeners probably are like, dude, I ain't going around no dead body.
Well, the thing is, with animal control, animal cruelty, and then we go into humane law enforcement, you don't want to deal with death, but you have to. That's from the dead animal giving bad news to, if a dog got hit, or if it's a dead body, you have to go in and retrieve the animal sometime like that. And until you've seen your first body or smelled your first body, it's different. Now, matter of fact, how do you get past that? I know you've been doing it for so long. It's, it might be automatic right now. But when you're teaching, how do you teach that component, how to get past the first time you see a dead body?
Well, so the first time you're seeing one isn't as bad. I mean, there's really no way to get past it other than just do it.
Right.
The problem isn't as much about seeing it because so we've all been to funerals and we've seen a dead body. Now,
right.
Obviously, on a crime scene, especially a traumatic crime scene, it's different.
Right.
However, visually, it's one thing. It's the smell that people have a hard time getting past.
Right.
And that just takes time to get used to. Learn how to breathe through your mouth and out your nose, but not when there's flies around. So flies end up your mouth. But I've been there, done that. But you just learn. You get used to anything. But the visual isn't as bad. It's the smells and the sounds. I think is what people have the hardest time getting over.
I've been on so many crime scenes. I see so many dead bodies, some dead animals, in all types of positions. And with your academy, you go through so many components to it that you bring in 35 years to experience is phenomenal for everybody who's listening to Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene. Next one is, what was your most interesting case? I know.
Boy, after 35 years, but I don't know. I'm not prepared for that one. My most interesting case. Well, one just popped in my mind. I don't know that this is number one, but one that popped in my mind was a a young girl had killed her baby, and she had suffocated the baby twice prior, went to the hospital, baby recovered, and it was a Munchausen by proxy type deal. On the third attempt, the baby ended up dying. But I was working the law enforcement side at that time. I was still in the coroner's office, but working law enforcement side, and I was interviewing her during this investigation, and she had a teddy bear in her hand, and she was showing me how she was holding the teddy bear when the baby became unresponsive. Well, what she didn't realize was she had her hand over the teddy bear's face, pushing down on the teddy bear's face. Subconsciously, she was doing that. Now, video, of course, was showing her and whatever. And so, ultimately, when I pointed that out, there was a few other factors. She ended up confessing.
Okay.
But, that was interesting because she had no idea that she was telling me one story, but her body movement was showing something else.
Yeah. We see some of that, like the first 48, stuff like that. And the real first 48, it's the type of interview where they want to establish rapport.
Yes.
And then they want to not so much friend you up, but hey, it's okay. We're gonna work this out. Oh, I want to know, your truth, just like that. And you don't lull them to sleep, but you kind of like get where they are. You mirror, you parrot a little bit like that. You not slide around, tweak the temperature, get them a meal, stuff like that, and you become friends.
Yes.
And then sometimes I seen them even on first 48 or inside the interview room, start pointing to themselves like I did it, like that. That kills me. I learned from one of my guys, John DeGonia, Sedalia police chief. This is a while back. He was pointing me how to recognize certain things, like different micro expressions with the face. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, okay. Again, I'm like, okay, because as you go on, you pick up these little secrets and trades and everything. I like to share. Sharing is caring. All right. Next question: favorite movie or book?
Wow. Again, I was not prepared for the questions. I don't know about the favorite movie. I'm not lots of good movies, but I'm not a big TV watcher. And my favorite book, again, what popped in my mind? Well, what popped in my mind was a book from when I was a child, and it was Where the Red Ferns Grow.
Okay.
Have you read that?
No.
It's about, a hillbilly kid buying some coon dogs.
Okay.
And there's a whole story about the coon dogs, the one I won't give it away. But anyway, that's just all. And I even read it when I became an adult. I read it. But, there's a lot of business books that I like. And, of course, there's a lot of forensic books that I like. I don't watch TV, a lot of movies, but I'm an avid reader. So to say that I have a favorite book, I don't know what it'd be off the top of my head, but business books and forensic books are probably the things that I read forensic textbooks like somebody else would read a romance novel. I mean, I'm boring that way, but that's why
I research that way. So I'm not the avid reader that you are. I'm a researcher. So if I have a topic and everything, I'm going to research it. So I go like this: Google, and after that, I'm like, then I'll call somebody. Hey, can you tell me that to get this one, get this one, get this. Because but when I first became a supervisor and a manager, I wasn't a leader. I was a boss. Yep. Two different things.
Big difference.
And I had to learn how to be a leader, and I had to talk to my command staff because hopefully they know, because they lead more people than I do. And I was like, what do you do? Because I was horrible. My first year being a supervisor, I sucked woodchuck nuts, okay? And it was one of those like, they was like, yeah, okay, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. I was like, okay, what can I do? How do I do it? So it gave me several books. Lincoln, a whole bunch of stuff on, the president, Lincoln, and how you lead by this, how you do this like that, interpersonal connections. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, So what is your favorite food to cook or eat?
So my favorite food, surprisingly enough, is cashew chicken.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but it always has been. In fact, when I was a kid, my mom would make it. That would make my birthday meal.
Okay.
So here I am in, mid-50s, and I still like cashew chicken. That's probably my best. Now, of course, a good steak comes right at a close second.
Okay, wait,
right?
What part? What's your favorite piece?
Well, I'm odd that way. I like the sirloin. I mean, ribeyes are good, but I like the sirloin. I mean, you cook it right, you can't beat a good sirloin. I know that's the cheap seats, right?
No.
But I like cheap whiskey too. So.
No, headache, man, headache. I like top shelf everything. I'm expensive like that. As far as because I went vegan for 2 years. That's another story. I had to come back to light, Caroline. It was a little strange, but I do vegetarian, pescatarian, all that good stuff like that. So I eat kind of whatever. I like a nice ribeye. I like New York strip, of course. I'm from New York. I like a porterhouse when it's done right. Filet mignon, not the biggest fan, but I haven't touched a tomahawk yet. I think it's a little bit too much for me, but it looks incredible.
Yeah.
You know,
They're hard to tackle, but they're good if done right.
All right, and let me get another one. Oh, here's one. Since the name of the show is Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene, have you ever messed up a case?
Oh my God, absolutely.
See, it's just not me.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the person that'll, whether they've been an investigator for a year or 35 years, anybody that tells you they haven't messed something up is a liar. I have messed them up, and I teach it, and I still go back and mess something up. But when I mess it up, then I make notes of it, and I say, okay, now last week I screwed up, and here's what I did. I mean, I don't screw up nearly, very much and things like that. But yeah, in my career, yeah, you mess something up, and a lot of times it's because you get in a hurry. That is the biggest reason for messing
Hurry
something
or
up.
complacent.
Hurry or complacent, yes.
And you don't follow your SOP or your checklist. I'm a big checklist person.
Absolutely.
Because I tell you, when I mess up, because I still do, I wear a body cam. There's nothing like watching our body cam and seeing you actually fuck up.
And it's good. And it's good evidence for your report and for to be able to look back at that and biases. You can get into a scene and think. And we had an instructor this morning kind of mentioned this, what came to mind, but biases. Well, this person is an older person, so he surely he's not a drug addict. Or this person is female, and females don't do X or whatever. Right. Well, when you go in with those biases, then you mess the whole thing up.
And you limit yourself.
Crowded.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless of you pigeonhole yourself in because, well, a kid can't do that, or females don't shoot themselves, or whatever the bias is, and then you're totally wrong in your case in the end.
Right. So, my thing is like this. When he mentioned Quincy, and, it was like, well, who's Quincy? Like that. We're old enough where, Columbo, Quincy, stuff like that and everything. I'm like, with Jack Klugman and stuff like that. My favorite was always Columbo because he's like, he kind of figured it out, but he wanted to make sure. He's like this, got one more question.
Yeah.
I got one more question.
So that, not on purpose, but that's kind of me. So I'll ask questions and I'll do my interviews, and then I read through my notes and I'm just kind of thinking for a second. I may even start to leave, and I'll say, "Hey, I got one more question."
There you go.
And it's like Columbo-like, and I'm not trying to be Columbo-like.
Peter Falk, baby, Peter Falk.
But it's amazing how people will respond to that because they relax because they think you're done, and then you shoot them with a question, they're off guard.
And then they're going to answer it truthfully.
Much more truthfully. Or you could sure see the stumble.
Right. I teach interview.
Interview interrogation?
Yes.
Or interview, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a huge difference, okay? Interrogation is rules.
Yes.
Interview, it can be. You don't want, in and out questions. You want them established like that, but we try. Yeah. All right. Favorite place to visit or vacate?
Mountains. Probably the mountains. I like to be outdoors, and we do have a cabin down on our family farm that I go to because it's in the middle of the woods. But vacation to me is in the wilderness or the mountains. I mean, I like the beach. That's fine, but that's not my go-to.
I'm not a beach guy.
I don't care to come to it, but that's my go-to. My go-to would be the wilderness, the mountains, things like that.
So since you're Missouri,
yes,
you like the Ozarks?
I do. In fact, I live in what was considered the Ozarks. Is I guess a little further south than me would be more Ozark, but I'm considered in the Ozarks.
Okay, because I do the MACA conference down there almost every year, and we was in the Ozarks. Now we're going to Springfield, which is totally different. Different.
And that's still in the Ozarks.
Oh yeah, but
here you got a town of, I forget how big Springfield, Missouri is, but if you ever see a newscast on it, a sleepy little Missouri town.
Yeah.
Well, Springfield's a big town.
Yeah. Oh, you believe me?
But it's not Chicago. It's not
even close.
It's not that big. But
so, what's the big thing down in Missouri? Branson. We said, wow, Branson, and that's the first time I ever saw. What's the big store? The big store,
Bass Pro.
Bass Pro.
The Bass Pro's in Springfield headquarters.
And I went in there. It was like a city. You know. Yes. I was like, okay.
You could not see all of Bass Pro in a day.
No, but and then what's the place they throw flying biscuits to you? Lambert's. There you go. See, yeah. We're here. Yeah. When I go to Columbia University, I go to Shakespeare Pizza. Not bad. Not bad. They got a few things I like in Columbia. A few things. Not everything, but a few things. Are you a great teammate?
Well, I think I am a great teammate because there's no I in team,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and I've spent. I told you before. I like leadership books, business books, and of course forensic books. And I've spent a lot of my career in leadership and trying to develop myself as a leader. And to say that means I have to be a good teammate. And that's what you ask. Am I a good teammate? So I was deputy coroner for a long time. I was chief deputy coroner, I guess. Now I am the coroner, and I have investigators that work under me. But I do what they do. I don't do something that I wouldn't ask them, or I don't ask them to do something I wouldn't do.
Right.
We work together. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess if I have to put my foot down and say we have to do this, then I guess I am the boss and the buck stops with me, so to speak. But I don't believe that adults need to be operating that way, so I believe operating as a team, and we do a great job at that. So I do believe I'm a great teammate because I can lead, I can follow, and I get out of the way. However, someone needs to, and if you ain't leading, I'll do it. But if you want to, Kevin, go ahead. I'll follow you. Let's do it together. But if you're walking around ain't doing nothing, I'm taking charge.
So, and again, this is Don't Fuck Up the Crime Scene, episode 42. We got Darren Dake, and he is the owner of Death Investigations Academy. I've seen his syllabus is very, very incredible, and he's a great person. I've been talking for the last 2 days. So, for his leadership, the one thing I noticed, incident command system. So, as you say, play your part.
Yes.
And like me, I know how to be a good Indian, right? If I have to be in charge, I don't mind being in charge, but my thing is like this. I'm okay with being an Indian, But like you said, if you're not going to do it, well, somebody got to do it.
Somebody got to do it.
Are you a dog or cat person?
Oh, absolutely a dog person.
You said
Cats are not Christians. They are from hell, and I can prove it biblically.
Oh, my God.
So I am a dog person. Let me tell you what. Being in death investigation for 35 years, that dog will eat on you if you die alone in your home after several days and the dog's about to die. The cat will have your lips ate off in 2 hours.
Oh, this is funny.
Cats are satanic.
I love it.
You want me to prove it?
No, go ahead, please.
Okay,
please.
so just think about, I don't care what religion you are, I don't care what faith you are, I don't care what the listeners believe in, but let's just talk for a moment about Christianity. In Christian faith, a Christian, and in most religions, helpful and forgiving,
right.
and that's a dog, right? You go out to the truck and come back in, he's excited. You think you've been gone 30 days,
right?
He wants to be around you. He wants to be petted by you. You can train them to search and rescue. You can train them to sniff out diabetes.
Right.
You can do all this. You can't train a cat to do nothing but poop and sand, and they do that by instinct. Now, anybody out there listening, if you got a cat, have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and that cat be on your headboard or on your chest looking at you? You know what it's doing? Waiting for you to die. I'm telling you. Have you ever seen a picture of Satan with 2 dogs beside him? No.
It's always cats.
You can't train a cat to nothing. They're not helpful. They're not forgiving. They're not pleasurable to be around.
They can be personable.
When they want to.
Okay.
They'll come to you, pet me. Okay, I'm done. Leave me alone.
This is true. This
right?
is true.
They're very snobbish. They're very standoffish. Cats aren't Christians.
Let's get into your academy. How long you been doing that, and why did you create it, and how successful has it been?
So it's very successful because we're filling a need that needs to be filled. And so as I was getting close to my quote retirement time, so to speak, I looked ahead and decided I love teaching anyway, and what could I do? And I noticed that the death investigation specific training wasn't out there. There was a lot of policing training, a lot of death investigation for police, and we teach a hybrid course. But in 2014, I started a podcast called Coroner Talk, and it's still active today. But then in 2015, I started doing some online training and some speaking at conferences because my podcast had opened some doors to the conferences. And then that led me to believe or know that there is really a shortage of death investigation training specific to police and coroner NDI for death investigation. So in 15, I just went ahead and bit the bullet, opened the company, Death Investigation Training Academy. And so we've been active since 2015. In 2018, I went full-time. That's I retired. I went full-time. I was still deputy coroner. Now I'm elected coroner. So I kind of got 2 roles there. But Death Investigation Academy, if I ever lose the election, I still have that. But that's what I consider my I guess both are primary, but it's very successful because we train people to investigate death from a 5-foot view. Some of these courses are from a 50,000-foot view. You'll give you the definition of the suicide, but never train you how to actually put your hands on a body. Right? We train from down in the mud and the blood of how to do the job. We've got online training, lots of online training. Some of our training that's our 40-hour program. There are several states that use it as their mandatory basic.
Wow.
And so we've got state contracts, and of course we've got like 35 or so individual courses. Plus we have classroom courses. I just enjoy teaching. I love being around people and talking and teaching and training.
My thing is when we met, and I seen how enthused you were, stuff like that and everything. It just, you got like shine, stuff like that. He said, hey, bop, 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 bop. It's very direct. It's easy to understand. Yep. I was like this, okay. And I looked at, your syllabus and everything. I said, okay. And we just, we talked a little bit. I was like, okay, like you said, I do my best as an instructor to make sure I go over my terminal performance objectives, okay? And then I might put my enabler objectives after that and my support objectives after that, right? And I say how we're going to get here. I'm always jovial when I teach. If it's a real deep subject, I might be a little serious, but other than that, I keep it very light and upbeat and we go about it. And when we out here live talking to somebody, you can really be yourself. Online, it's different. And then I call it the blip. The 2 years that we just had to go online, It taught me, because it's hard, because you don't see the person. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get that response because some instructors need it. I learned a lot about it. How did you deal with the whole COVID blip? How did you deal with that?
Well, and I hate to be the person that says this. There's a lot of companies that are in this position, but COVID, as horrible as COVID was, for a business perspective, COVID was fantastic for us. and it's because we wasn't scrambling trying to
figure it out.
Put it online. We were already online.
Right.
We, like I said, in 2018, we've been having the 40-hour MDI course since 17, and we had a lot of individual courses. So we were already there.
Right.
Now, my traveling and speaking and things like that shut down, but what they did was they wasn't holding conferences, so they had to give CEUs. So I just contracted with states to provide online training to their coroners and police officers. So again, COVID, for all of its bad, financially,
it was very good,
and setting my business up to be more known.
Yeah.
COVID helped us there. I don't know that I would have traded it because a lot of people suffered and a lot of people died and a lot of people were sick, and I would rather it not have happened.
Right.
But how we weathered it, we were already prepared. And one of the things that sets us apart, our academy apart, and I wanted to say this, is we have a certification program, and also we allow people not currently in the industry to take our courses, so that they can prepare themselves to go to work.
I like that.
Every other industry, you train and then go to work.
Right.
And a lot of these courses are closed off to people who want to learn. Well, we don't close it off. If there are courses that are very, very specific to law enforcement, you as a private individual don't even see them. Mm-hmm. So if you see them on our site, you're allowed to take them, and you get all the same training.
I like that because, like I said, I went through LATI, Law Enforcement Training Institute in Missouri, and I went on hands-on. Going with Renee and everybody from the office and everything, we was doing online stuff before, but we had to really ratchet it up, and Just taser.
Yep.
That's right, guys. We're outside on a balcony here.
It's live.
Baby.
It's real life.
Yeah. That's what happens. All right. Plus, we getting it started with the music behind us in the backdrop. You gotta love it. So, the biggest thing I learned was you do what you do, and you stay consistent. Like you was talking about the podcast. I like how you said, hey, we had to keep doing it, stuff like that. And for the podcast that I'm doing now, I'm like this. Okay, how do you stay relevant? How do you stay consistent? Stuff like that. You talk to good people.
Right.
Right.
Well, good interviews, be consistent, have good people on, relevant topic, all that is how to really make the podcast succeed. Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to get you back on, and we're going to not do a easy 8, but I know I coached you out there a few questions, right?
Yeah.
All right. That was Darren Dake, and again, he is from owner of Death Investigations Academy. And on that note, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. remember, try your best not to fuck up the crime scene. And we are out.
And that's a wrap. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. It was a pleasure. I always have fun talking my stories and all that good stuff. So again, tune in to dfutcs.com. Don't F up the crime scene. Holla back at you guys later.
All right, I'm back with you live here, so to speak. So anyway, that was a great conversation. Kevin's a really cool guy. I got to know him quite a bit over that 2 or 3 days there in Daytona. And then when we left Daytona, he actually was on the same plane with me, headed back to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, of course, that's where we separated. I went to St. Louis, and I think he went back to Washington, D.C. So we were on the same plane, and interestingly enough, we sat right across the aisle from each other. So, of course, that wasn't pre-planned. It was just interesting how it worked out. Kevin is a really neat guy. I'm glad I met him. He is going to be doing some online training with us. He teaches on several topics, not just animal control and animal cruelty. He does specialize in that, but he spent years in law enforcement, retired law enforcement, and he's got some other courses that he teaches, and I think he's going to be doing some online training for us, so I can't wait for that, just to get to know Kevin better, because he's kind of cool. We have a lot of online training, like I've said, a lot of things we can do for you. Just let me know how best I can help you, and we're here to help you in every way we can. So again, welcome to 2023. If my staff can do anything for you, please let me know. Find a way to bless the world around you, and above all, we want you back next week. So keep your head screwed on straight and be safe.
Thanks for listening to Coroner Talk, a DSPN media production. Visit our website at coronertalk.com. And be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/coronertraining. 3617 1024 scene en route to morgue.